Welcome to Stylex Studio, a channel dedicated to providing you knowledge free of cost. Yes, you heard it, absolutely free. No registration fees, no tuition fees, nada, nothing, zilch, zero. It's all entirely free. And you are positively encouraged to speak back to the teacher via the comments. So, welcome to Stylex Studio. Okay, so let's open up our Photoshop, and as soon as we open up our Photoshop, we'll see our workspace, our interface, and as you can see, I have one layer currently, which is by default labeled background, and it's filled with white and it's locked. Okay, now I would like to change the background color. I have a color here which I've already selected, and it's known as a blood orange color. I think the code for that is D00027. you can see from here. Okay, if you would like to use this color, by all means use this code. Okay, now how do we fill the canvas with that color? Those of you that have seen my previous tutorial know that Alt and backspace will fill the canvas with the foreground color. Okay, now that we have our background to the color that we require, the next stage would be to add some text. So we'll go to the left side of our workspace where we have our tools and we have our tool type. Okay, so let's make sure that horizontal is selected by going right clicking on this. Make sure horizontal is selected, left click and go anywhere on the canvas and left click down. As soon as we left click down, it will automatically create a layer for us. Okay, now remember, if you look to the top, this color is the same as our foreground color, so whatever we type is going to be the same color, which we will not be able to view or see. Okay, so let's change the color of the text by clicking here once and then picking white, and those of you that know, it's F F F F F F. 6 F's will give you a pure white color, okay, in that code. So let's click OK, and now we can see it's a white box, and that's going to be the color of our text. So let's type in some text. Sliced text is what we've written. Okay, now I would like to actually get my text smack bang in the middle of my background. And how do we achieve this? Okay, go to your right side into your layers panel, highlight your text layer, and then hold the control down and then left click on the background layer, so both layers get highlighted. Once both layers are highlighted, go to your move tool, which should give you your move tool options at the top. Here you see the align functions for the move tool. Okay, align top, align center, align bottom, align left, align center, and align right. Okay, we want to go center vertical, which is the middle option here, the second one in. Okay, so we left click on this once, that will take my text to vertically, it will take it to the center. We also would like to actually do it horizontally, so we'll go to the second to last icon, and it should give us a tool tip, align horizontal. Once we are on this, if we left click once and click on it, look what happens. Now my text is smack bang in the middle of my background. Okay, now make sure your text layer is selected and zoom into round about sort of 63%. You can control and the negative sign will zoom out, and control and the plus sign on your keyboard will zoom in. Okay, so I'd like to zoom into round about say 63%, and that's sufficient for me. Okay, the next stage would be to pick your selection tool, and I will pick the polygonal lasso tool for this. Okay, so I will click once here, create a point. The second point would be here, and I would like to sort of split my text at this point here, and all I'm doing is I'm just creating a selection. Okay, as you can see, it's created a selection. Once I complete my selection, it creates a selection for me, okay, where you see the marching ants. Once you've completed the selection, make sure your text layer is selected. Go to the bottom of your layers panel and you've got add layer mask, this icon here, okay. Click on it once. Okay, those of you that saw the previous tutorials will know when you work with masks, black conceals and white reveals. Black conceals and white reveals. Now if you look at the mask here, where the black is in the mask, it's concealed it, and where the white is, it's revealed it, okay. So this section is being revealed and the rest of it is being concealed. Right, the next stage would be to actually create a duplicate of this. We can do this two ways. Highlight it, left click down and dragging it onto this icon. So highlight it, left click down, drag it onto new layer, and it should create a duplicate, okay. Let's Control Z out of this. Another way would be to make sure it's highlighted, Control and the letter J on your keyboard, hold down Control and press down the letter J, should give you the same thing, which will create a duplicate copy, okay. Now once we have a duplicate copy, make sure you're on the copy itself, make sure your mask is highlighted, and we know this because we have a border around the mask currently. So if I was in my text, the border would shift to the text, but I want to be on my mask, so I will click once on the mask and it's highlighted, so I'm in my mask at the moment. We want to invert the mask, okay, opposite to this mask here. So how do we do this? Select the mask, press Control and the letter I for indigo on your keyboard, and voila, look what happens. The blacks become white and the white becomes black, okay. White reveals, black conceals, okay. So what's white is being revealed and what's black in this mask is concealed, okay, opposite to what we had in this mask. Okay, next stage would be to create a new layer, okay. So let's create a new layer. Now that we have the layer created, it's actually a completely blank layer. As you can see, voila, it's a blank layer, okay. I've turned the other layers off and it's just the new layer that's active at the moment. So let's turn the other layers on. Let me just label this shadow, because that's what we're trying to create with this. That's what we will create with this layer, is a shadow, okay. Go to your copy of your text layer, make sure it's highlighted as such, and hit the move tool. Now once you hit the move tool on your keyboard, you've got 4 arrows, up, down, left and right, okay. For the purpose of this tutorial, okay, I'm going to hit the bottom arrow pointing downwards twice, once, twice. Now if you look carefully, that's split my text, okay. Wherever I actually made that selection with the polygonal tool, it split it, okay. So for me, twice on the arrow pointing downwards is sufficient for me. That's vertically splitting the text. Now we want to actually move the text horizontally as well. Simply as is, now press the right arrow, okay, arrow pointing towards the right, and it all depends on your text and what type of text you use, okay. So for me, once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think about 13 hits on that right arrow would be sufficient for this tutorial, okay. Once you have this, click off it. Okay, let's move to the next stage, which is make sure your copy of your text is highlighted. Hold the Control down and left click on the layer mask. Once you do that, it will give you that selection that we made earlier with the polygonal lasso tool, okay. Once this appears on your screen, make sure you go to your shadow layer, click on it, highlight it, okay. Now this is highlighted. Change your foreground colors and background colors. I would like to use black, which is my foreground color. Click on your brush, My brush size is 50 pixels and hardness is 0. Okay, so I'll take it to the first point, and so half the circle is going to be above the marching ants and half the circle will be below the marching ants. And all we need to do is left click once, move the cursor to the other end of the text, making sure half is above and half is below, like so. Hold the shift key down and press left click. Now by doing this, you will create a straight paint stroke from point A to point B. Okay, release the left click and the shift, and voila, you have a paint stroke. Now if you go anywhere, click off it and then Control D. If you look at it, okay, we've sort of achieved that effect, but for my liking, that shadow is a bit too dark. How do we modify this? Okay, click on the shadow, make sure your shadow layer is highlighted. In the layers you have opacity. Now let's work with the opacity. So go into the opacity, left click down here, and then drag your mouse towards the left. As you do, the opacity of that dark line becomes lighter. For the purpose of this tutorial, at about 70% looks absolutely great for me. Okay, and there we have it. We've achieved a sliced text effect with 4 layers. Right guys, hopefully you've learned something and found this tutorial useful. If you did, hit that subscribe button, like and share the videos as much as possible, ring the bell icon, okay, and smack a comment in the comments below. Remember to go away and do your practice runs. Okay, the more you learn, the more you practice, the better you will become. Take the knowledge that you acquired today, put it into use in your personal private projects, in your commercial projects, okay, and see what you can achieve. Just to give you a rough idea, this is something that we created. You can create something like this, and here's a commercial project we did for a client. We did this for them. We used exactly the same techniques to achieve this. Okay, so like I said, practice makes perfect, and we'll see you in the next class. Until then, take care of yourselves. Adios amigos.